So next I am going to start friction. In all the examples we have discussed in Newton's laws, in the case of bodies in contact, we have discussed examples where the surfaces in contact are smooth and frictionless. When the two bodies with smooth surfaces are placed in contact, then the contact force exerted by surface of one body on the other body, then the contact force exerted by surface of one body on the other body placed in contact with it acts normal to the surfaces in contact, means perpendicular to the surfaces in contact. But in practice, usually friction will always be present. So when you try to cause relative motion between two surfaces in contact, when you try to move one body relative to the another body which is placed in contact with it, then the surface of each body exerts a tangential force on the surface of the other body. So when two bodies are placed in contact with each other, and when you try to cause relative motion between the two surfaces in contact, then the surface of each body exerts a tangential force on the surface of the other body. This tangential force exerted by the surface of one body on the surface of other body, which opposes the relative motion between the two surfaces in contact, is called as friction. So in general, force of friction between two surfaces in contact always acts tangential to the surfaces in contact. So force of friction between two surfaces in contact always acts tangential to the surfaces in contact. And force of friction between two surfaces in contact always opposes the relative motion between the two surfaces in contact. So in general, the force of friction between two surfaces in contact always opposes the relative motion between the two surfaces in contact. The force of friction between two bodies in contact, when there is no relative motion between the two surfaces in contact, when there is no slipping or sliding between the two surfaces in contact, then the force of friction between two surfaces in contact is called as static friction between the two surfaces in contact. So, to understand the discussion, let us consider a simpler case first. Let us consider a block of mass m resting on a horizontal floor. So let us consider a block of mass m placed on a horizontal floor. Let us consider a block of mass m placed on a horizontal floor. Or on a fixed surface, fixed horizontal surface. So let us consider a block of mass m resting on a horizontal floor. Then Two forces act on the block. One is its weight mg, which is a gravitational force on the block by the earth. The second force is the normal reaction force exerted on block by the floor. So in the figure N represents the magnitude of the normal reaction force on the block by the floor, which acts vertically upwards, perpendicular to the surface of the floor and directed away from surface of floor. So when the block is at rest, we can say the net force of the block is 0. That means the two forces N and mg are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. That means the block just rests on the floor, but no horizontal force is applied on the block. That means the block is at rest on the floor and no horizontal force is applied on the block. That means no one tries to or attempts to move the block on the floor. The net force of the block is 0. That means there is no force on the block in the horizontal direction. So we can say that frictional force on the block is also 0. So force of friction begins to act on the block only when we try to cause relative motion between the block and the floor. Let us suppose a small horizontal force is applied on the block towards right. Let us suppose a small horizontal force is applied on the block towards right. Let capital F subscript A represent the magnitude of the horizontal force applied on the block by an external agent, which tends to move the block towards right. The block rests on the smooth floor. Then it starts moving towards right with an acceleration of magnitude Fa by m from Newton's second law. The block suppose rests on the smooth horizontal floor, and if a horizontal force is applied on the block towards right, which magnitude is denoted by Fa, then it starts moving towards right with an acceleration given by Fa by m. But in practice, we observe that when the block rests on a rough horizontal floor, when a small horizontal force is applied on the block may not move. That means when the force applied on the block is less than a particular value, then the block remains at rest on the floor. So in general, if a small horizontal force is applied on a block of mass m, which is initially at rest on a rough horizontal floor, there are two possible situations. The block may continue to remain at rest, or second possibility is it may start moving with an acceleration. Let us consider the first possibility. Let us suppose the horizontal force applied on the block is very small, which is not sufficient to start the block moving along the rough floor. Then still the block is at rest, means the net force of the block must be 0. Net force of the block in the horizontal direction must be 0, net force in the vertical direction must also be 0. That means the vertical direction, the weight mg is balanced by normal reaction. Means in the horizontal direction, there must be a force to the left side, directed towards left, which balances the horizontal force applied on the block. So this force is exerted by the floor on the block, which we call friction. Here small letter f represents the magnitude of frictional force on block by the floor, which opposes the motion of the block relative to the floor. So small f represents the magnitude of the frictional force exerted on block by floor. Of course, from Newton's third law, we can say that the block exerts force of same magnitude on the floor towards right. The block exerts force of same magnitude denoted by small f on floor towards right. But here we are drawing the free body diagram for the block. So in the free body diagram for the block, we must show only the forces which are acting on the block. We should not show the forces exerted by the block in the free body diagram. So the force, frictional force exerted on block by the floor will be shown in the free body diagram for the block. But the force of friction exerted by block on floor, reaction to this, is not shown in the free body diagram for the block. So there are, if we choose the horizontal direction towards right as positive direction of x-axis, and vertically upward direction as the positive direction of y-axis. So y component of the resultant force on the block is equal to Nmar of mg. In this case, the block has no motion in the vertical direction. The block has no acceleration in the vertical direction. So y component of acceleration is 0. Y component resultant force is 0. The x component resultant force of the block will be equal to magnitude of the horizontal force applied minus magnitude of frictional force on block by the floor. Small f represents the magnitude of frictional force on block by floor. So if the block is at rest, with respect to the laboratory frame of reference or with respect to stationary observer on the floor, then x component resultant force of the block will be 0. That means when the block is at rest, does not move on the floor, I mean when the horizontal force applied on the block is not large enough to start it moving along the rough floor, then you can conclude that magnitude of friction force on the block same as the magnitude of the horizontal force which tends to move the block along the floor. So this is a frictional force acting on the block when it is at rest. It is called static frictional force. In general, force of friction between two surfaces in contact when there is no relative motion between the two surfaces in contact is called as static friction. So in general, the force of friction between two surfaces in contact when there is no relative motion between the two surfaces in contact is called static friction. That means, for example, if two blocks are placed in contact, one over the other, if both the blocks move, suppose in the horizontal direction, so that one does not slip on the surface of other block. If there is no slipping or sliding between the surface of two bodies in contact, or if there is no relative motion between the two surfaces in contact, then the type of friction that exists between the two surfaces in contact is called static friction. So the magnitude of the static friction denoted by F subscript S, depends on the magnitude of the horizontal force applied on the block. That means the static friction between two surfaces in contact will not have exactly fixed value. We say that static friction is a self-adjusting force. That means the magnitude of static friction is adjusted to be becomes same as the magnitude of the horizontal force which tends to move the block. In the same free body diagram, suppose the block is in accelerated motion, so if the block is in accelerated motion along the floor, then magnet of the resultant for the block in x direction cannot be equated to 0. Or magnet of friction for the block, we cannot say that same as the magnet of horizontal force applied. That means the equality, this equality holds good. That means magnet of friction on the block same as the magnet of the horizontal force applied only when the block is at rest. The equality does not hold good when the block is in accelerated motion. So magnet of friction on the block by the floor depends on the magnet of the horizontal force applied and increases with increase in the magnet of the horizontal force applied only up to the instant just before the block starts moving. Once the block starts sliding on the floor, then magnet of friction for the block becomes independent of the magnet of the horizontal force applied on the block. So magnet of force of friction acting on the block when it is sliding on the floor is called force of kinetic friction, which is denoted by Fk. So in general, the force of friction between the surface of two bodies in contact, then one body slides or slips over the surface of other body, is called force of sliding friction or force of kinetic friction or sometimes force of dynamic friction. Let us come to the term static friction. So the static friction between the block and the floor in the example I was discussing is said to be a self-adjusting force. That means it will not have a fixed value. Its value increases from 0 to a maximum, which increases the horizontal force applied. The minimum horizontal force needed to just start the block moving, it depends on the magnet of normal reaction between the two surfaces and also depends on the nature of the two surfaces in contact. If more rough surfaces are in contact, naturally greater force will be required to start it moving. I mean, if the floor is more rough or if surfaces in contact are more rough, then naturally more force will be required to start it moving. So in general, when the floor or surface on which the block rests is not smooth, the block starts moving only when the horizontal force applied on the blocks exceeds some particular value. So before the block starts moving, at any instant before the block starts moving, the magnet of static friction of the block is same as the magnet of the horizontal force applied, which tends to move the block. Let us suppose the magnet of the horizontal force applied on the block is increased gradually from 0. I mean, the block is initially at rest on the rough horizontal floor, and this horizontal force applied on the block is increased gradually from 0. That means if the block is just placed on the floor, but no horizontal force is applied, the block is at rest on the horizontal floor, but no horizontal force is applied. That means from same equation, if the horizontal force applied on the block is 0, then magnet of static friction on the block is also 0. That means no frictional force acts on the block when no horizontal force applied on the block towards right. That means force of friction comes into the action only when you try to move the block along the floor or when you try to cause relative motion between the two surfaces in contact. So let us suppose the magnet of the horizontal force applied on the block is increased gradually from 0, slowly in small steps. Then magnet of static friction will also start increasing from 0. This equality holds good. That is, we can write magnet of friction on the block to be same as the magnet of the horizontal force applied only up to the instant just before the block starts moving. Once the block starts moving with an acceleration, this equality will not hold good. That means magnet of friction of the block, which we call static friction, depends on the magnet of the horizontal force applied on the block, and it increases from 0 to a maximum value with increase in the horizontal force applied. This static friction of the block reaches the maximum possible value at the instant just before the block starts moving. I mean, if the horizontal force applied on the block increases gradually from 0, as long as the block is at rest, we can say that the magnet of static friction of the block is same as the magnet of the horizontal force applied on the block. And therefore, magnet of static friction of the block increases with increase in the horizontal force applied on the block. That means static friction between the block and the floor is said to be a self-adjusting force. That means it's a variable quantity which may have any value from 0, between 0 and a maximum value. So this equality holds good only up to the instant just before the block starts moving. So when you continuously increase the magnet of the horizontal force applied on the block gradually, the magnet of static friction also goes on increasing. And definitely the block starts moving once the horizontal force applied on the block exceeds some particular value. So this equality holds good only up to that instant, just before the block starts moving. That means the magnet of static friction on the block reaches the maximum possible value at the instant just before the block starts moving. This maximum value of force of static friction between two surfaces in contact is also called as limiting friction between the two surfaces in contact. Let us suppose the block starts moving when the horizontal force applied on the block just exceeds Newton. Let us suppose, to understand the limiting friction, let us suppose the horizontal force applied on the block starts moving if the horizontal force applied on the block just exceeds 20 newtons. That means in the same example, if the block is initially at rest, and let us suppose the horizontal force applied on the block is increased gradually from 0. When the horizontal force applied on the block is 0, static friction is also 0. Suppose if the horizontal force applied on the block is 10 newtons. If the block does not move, when the block does not move, you can say magnet of static friction is also 10 newtons. The horizontal force applied on the block is increased from 10 newtons to, suppose, 18 newtons. If the block still remains at rest, you can say magnet of static friction is also 18 newtons. So magnet of static friction increases in this way with increase in the horizontal force applied. And we say that static friction is a self-adjusting force. That means its value is adjusted to be same as the magnet of the horizontal force applied. When the horizontal force applied on the block is 20 newtons, the block is just about to start moving, about to start sliding on the floor, then magnet of static friction is also 20 newtons. Then we say that the block is a limiting equilibrium. Once the horizontal force on the block just exceeds 20 newtons, if it starts sliding, then with an acceleration, this equality will not be applicable. That means magnet of friction of the block can be written as equal to magnet of horizontal force applied, and magnet of friction of the block increases with increase in the horizontal force applied only up to the instant just before it starts moving. So magnet of static friction of the block reaches the maximum value just before it starts moving. So in the example I have discussed just now, maximum value of static friction between the two surfaces in contact, which is also called as limiting friction, is 20 newtons. In the same example, in general, we can say static friction between the block and the floor less than or equal to 20 newtons. So in general, static friction force between two surfaces in contact varies from 0 to a maximum. The static friction between two surfaces in contact reaches the maximum value at the instant just before the relative motion begins between the two surfaces. That means static friction between two bodies in contact reaches the maximum value at the instant just before one body begins to slip or slide over the surface of other body. So if a block is initially at rest on a rough horizontal floor, then if a horizontal force applied on the block begins to slide or move along the floor only when the magnitude of the horizontal force applied on the block just exceeds this maximum value of static friction. The maximum value of force of static friction is also called as limiting friction between the two surfaces in contact. So the maximum value of force of static friction between two surfaces is also called as limiting friction between the two surfaces in contact. So in the example which I have just discussed now, the limiting friction between the two surfaces in contact is 20 newtons. So it is possible to measure the limiting friction between two surfaces in contact experimentally. So the maximum value of force of static friction between two surfaces in contact in general is called as limiting friction between the two surfaces in contact. In general, static friction between two surfaces in contact will be less than or equal to the limiting value. In the example I have discussed just before this, the limiting friction is 20 newtons. That means the static friction between the block and the floor may not be 20 newtons for any horizontal force applied, which will be less than or equal to the 20 newtons. The static friction force on the block resting on the horizontal floor, in the example I was discussing, the static friction force on the block by the floor reaches the maximum value at the instant just before the block begins to slip or slide along the surface of floor. So in general, static friction between two surfaces in contact reaches the limiting value, means maximum value, at the instant just before the relative motion begins between the two surfaces. That means static friction between two bodies in contact reaches the limiting value or maximum value at the instant just before one body begins to slip or slide over the surface of other body. So there are some experimentally observed facts on friction which we call laws of friction. These laws of friction are not similar to the fundamental laws in physics like Newton's law of gravitation or Coulomb's law between two charges in electrostatics. And that means these laws of friction are empirical relationships, that means which are approximately true for most of the practical situations. But we apply these laws of friction in the examples in friction we discuss. So these laws of friction are based on the experimental observations. So according to the laws of friction, the maximum value of the static friction between two surfaces, which is called as limiting friction between two surfaces, is independent of the area of contact between the two surfaces, and this limiting friction between two surfaces in contact is directly proportional to the normal reaction between the two surfaces in contact. So the maximum value of static friction or limiting friction between two surfaces in contact is independent of the area of contact between the two surfaces and it is directly proportional to the normal reaction between the two surfaces in contact. So, in general, if N is the magnitude of normal reaction between two surfaces in contact, the maximum value of force of static friction or limiting friction between the two surfaces in contact is given by Fs maximum proportional to N. So, magnitude of limiting friction between two surfaces in contact, I mean magnitude of limiting friction between a pair of unlubricated surfaces in contact, directly proportional to the normal reaction between the two surfaces in contact. Of course, you might have heard the term lubrication in the lower classes, or you might have, it is also used in the general usage. So, lubrication is a process of reducing the limiting friction between two surfaces in contact by using a liquid like grease or oil. So, the laws of friction which we discuss are understood to be applicable for unlubricated surfaces in contact. I mean, the equation which I am writing here, we mean for unlubricated surface in contact. So, the limiting friction between a pair of unlubricated surface in contact is directly proportional to the magnitude of normal reaction between the two surfaces in contact. Or we can write the maximum value of force of static friction between the two surfaces in contact is given by nu s into N. Here nu s is a constant for a given pair of surfaces in contact. Nu s is the constant of proportionality, which is called as coefficient of static friction between the two surfaces. Here nu s is the constant of proportionality, which is called as the coefficient of static friction between the two surfaces in contact. So, the value of nu s depends only on the nature of the two surfaces in contact. Means the value of nu s depends on the degree of roughness or smoothness of the two surfaces placed in contact. For more rough surface in contact, nu s will have large value. For relatively less rough surfaces in contact, nu s will have small value. So, the value of nu s depends on the degree of roughness or smoothness of the two surfaces which are placed in contact. But the value of nu s can be considered to be a constant for a given pair of unlubricated surfaces in contact. For example, let us consider a block of mass m resting on a horizontal floor. If the normal reaction between the block and the floor is increased, for example, by placing another block above this first block, then normal reaction force by the floor on the lower block will increase. Suppose if the magnitude of the normal reaction force on the lower block by the floor gets doubled after placing a second block on it, then limiting friction between the lower block and the floor will also be doubled. But the coefficient of static friction between the lower block and the floor remains the same. We can write coefficient of static friction is equal to Fs maximum by N. Again, coming to this example, if we first consider a block of mass m resting on the floor. Suppose if another block of equal weight is placed on the first, above the first block, so the normal reaction force by the floor on the lower block is doubled. The limiting friction on the lower block by the floor will also be doubled. But the value of coefficient of static friction between the lower block and the floor remains same. That means the value of coefficient of static friction does not change when the normal reaction is changed. It is a constant for a given pair of unlubricated surface in contact. So we can define coefficient of static friction between a pair of unlubricated surface in contact as the ratio of the magnitudes of limiting friction between the two surfaces and the normal reaction between the two surfaces. So on the right hand side of this equation, both the numerator and denominator will be expressed in Newton in a SI system. So therefore the coefficient of friction has no units and dimensions. Not only the coefficient of static friction, later we discuss about coefficient of kinetic friction also. Any coefficient of friction will have no units and dimensions. So now in general the force of static friction between two surfaces in contact, between two surfaces in contact when there is no relative motion between the two surfaces in contact, will be less than or equal to us into n. So Fs should not be taken as equal to us into n in all the problems in friction. The static friction becomes equal to us into n at the instant just before the relative motion begins between the two surfaces in contact. In the example which I was discussing earlier, that is, suppose if it is found that a block resting on the horizontal floor starts moving only when the magnitude of the horizontal force applied on the block just exceeds 20 Newton. It means maximum value of force of static friction is 20 Newton. Means us into n equal to 20 Newton. The same example, suppose if the block is initially at rest, if the horizontal force applied on the block is 12 Newtons, which is less than the limiting friction, then the magnitude of static friction will be 12 Newtons, which is less than us into n. So should not take Fs equal to us into n in all the problems where the block is at rest. Remember that Fs becomes equal to us into n at the instant just before the block begins to slip or slide on the surface on which it rests. So in general, force of static friction between two surfaces is a self-adjusting force which can have any value between 0 and this maximum value in us into n. Now coming to the term kinetic friction, the force of friction between two bodies in contact, when one body slips or slides over the surface of other body, is called sliding friction, sometimes also called as kinetic friction or dynamic friction. The magnitude of this kinetic friction is denoted by small letter f with subscript k. The magnitude of kinetic friction between a pair of unlubricated surfaces in contact is also independent of area of contact between the two surfaces. And magnitude of force of kinetic friction between a pair of unlubricated surfaces in contact will be also proportional to the magnitude of normal reaction between the two surfaces in contact. So in general, if n is the magnitude of the normal reaction between the two surfaces in contact, then magnitude of the force of kinetic friction between the two surfaces in contact, which is denoted by F subscript K, is proportional to m. We can put another constant of proportionality. Denoted by nu k. This nu k is a constant of proportionality which is also a constant for a given pair of surfaces in contact. This nu k is called as coefficient of kinetic friction between the two surfaces, or coefficient of sliding friction between the two surfaces in contact, or sometimes coefficient of dynamic friction, which you can write as Fk by N. So the coefficient of kinetic friction between two surfaces in contact can be defined as the ratio of the magnitude of these. Again, I repeat, coefficient of kinetic friction between two surfaces in contact can be defined as the ratio of the magnitudes of force of kinetic friction and normal reaction between the two surfaces in contact. But magnitude of force of kinetic friction on a block resting on a floor does not change with increase in the horizontal force applied on the block. Considering the earlier example I discussed, if you consider a block of mass m resting on the horizontal floor, which is initially at rest, suppose if a horizontal force applied on the block when it is initially at rest towards right, then the frictional force on the block by the floor acts towards left side. As explained here, when you increase the magnitude of the horizontal force applied on the block gradually from 0, the magnitude of friction on the block called static friction also increases. And this magnitude of static friction reaches the maximum value at the instant just before the block starts moving. And the block starts moving and the horizontal force applied on the block just exceeds that maximum value of static friction, which is equal to written as nu s into n. But once the block starts moving on the floor, the frictional force acting on the block will be equal to the magnitude of kinetic friction, denoted by Fk. It is a common observation that if you consider a block resting on a rough horizontal floor, the horizontal force needed to just start the block moving is always little more than the minimum horizontal force needed to just maintain the motion of the block. So, let us consider the block sliding on the horizontal floor under the action of the horizontal force F denoted by Fa, and the block has no motion in vertical direction. So therefore, the magnitude of the resultant force in the block is equal to resultant of forces in the horizontal direction, and magnitude of this resultant for the block is equal to magnitude of the horizontal force applied minus magnitude of kinetic friction. From Newton's second law, this can be written as equal to product of its mass and acceleration. Now I am considering the situation or discussing the situation after the block starts sliding along the floor under the action of horizontal force, or after the block starts moving along a fixed surface. Then after the block started moving, if the magnitude of the horizontal force applied on the block during the motion is maintained to be greater than magnitude of kinetic friction, then from the above equation mathematically we can say Fa minus Fk is positive, acceleration is positive. Means the magnitude of velocity of the block goes on increasing during the motion. The block speeds up as it moves. After the block started sliding along the floor, suppose the magnitude of the horizontal force applied on the block is reduced and made equal to the magnitude of kinetic friction. Of course, when the block is initially at rest, to start it moving, the magnitude of the horizontal force applied to the block must just at least exceed the value you have seen to n, limiting friction. But after the block started moving, after the velocity of the block reaches a particular small value, suppose the magnitude of the horizontal force applied to the block is reduced and made equal to the magnitude of kinetic friction. Then Fa minus in this equation, if Fa equal to Fk, then acceleration of the block will be 0. Means velocity of the block will be constant. That means the block moves with uniform velocity. After the block started moving, if the magnitude of horizontal force is reduced and made equal to magnitude of kinetic friction, it moves with constant velocity. Suppose after the block starts moving, if the magnitude of the horizontal force applied on the block is reduced further, becomes less than the magnitude of kinetic friction, then acceleration will be negative. Means the block begins to move with retardation, and therefore it will come to rest after traveling some distance. So if you want to maintain the motion of the block along the floor, the magnitude of the horizontal force applied on the block should be maintained to be greater than or at least equal to the magnitude of kinetic friction. That means once the block is let into sliding motion along the floor, the minimum horizontal force needed to maintain the motion of the block same as the magnitude of force of kinetic friction between the two surfaces. So I will continue my discussion in the next class.